Hello students, I am Mohammad Kamran Khalil from YouTube channel The Twins Academy. So today I am going to discuss the common mistake which are done by the students so many times in the papers, so they will not get the required grades. So this topic is related with the O-level Physics 5054 and for the O-level IGCSE Physics as well 0625 and GCSE Physics 0702. So because they are all related with the O levels, so their syllabus is almost the same. So the Cambridge O level physics is the foundational subject that tests both theoretical understanding and the practical application. Many students struggle because they know the physics, they know the concept, but due to common mistakes during exam, they are not able to get the exact marks which they want. So their grades, for example, they were having this concept that they will get A star, but when the result is in their hand, they saw that they got B. So what is the basic reason? He or she was a A star student, but due to some common mistakes, that student got B or A instead of A star. So I will go through for the most common mistakes which are done by the student during the exams, and then I will tell that how to avoid them effectively. So common mistake number one, that majority of this time the student do not read the key point, the command word like state, explain, describe and calculate. So if they will ask state, they will show some step by step the process they will write down. For example, state what is meant by velocity. So they have to write down the definition by considering that state is the key word. Similarly, then explain. For explanation, that you have to provide a reasoning. The question related with this, that explain why a car stops when the brakes are applied. So certainly the car will stop when the brakes are applied. The force of friction between the road and tires will increase. So now this is the reasoning, which is a key point in order to explain the question. Then after that, describe. Now in the question related with the describe, which have the keyword related with the describe, outline what is happening step by step. For example, the example which I will quote, that how the water will get heat up. So the same answer, that the water will expand, become less denser, then moves in upward direction. So that is required as step by step the points which you have to describe in bullet points as well. And then the calculation, that is related with the working. You have to calculate, you have to apply some mathematics, you have to apply some formula. After that, the second mistake is the errors in the calculation and the units. Forgot to convert the unit. For example, the data is given in centimeter, but there is a unit of the data is the meter. So they have to convert centimeter into meter. Second mistake, that they will not write down the correct formula. If they will write down the incorrect formula, certainly they will not get the credit for that. And then missing or incorrect SI units in the final answer. That is another mistake during the calculation, and mistakes during that time they have to show the final answer with SI unit. Then how can we avoid them? Learn and memorize the key formula. You have to remember all those formula. You have to learn those formula, and then you will write down by one. And after that, always check the unit consistency before calculating. You have to see that the units are same for the calculation or they are different for the calculation. If the unit is given in kg and the other unit is given in centimeter, then you have to convert that unit. Write unit in every numerical answer. So you have to write down the units at the final answer. So use guess method. Given unknown, write down the equation, substitute the values and solve it. And then do not forget to write down the unit at the end. Then the third mistake, misunderstanding units and the conversion. The common mistake, using the wrong units instead of the force is required to calculate and you will write down the unit joules, then you will not get the credit. So instead of centimeter, you will write down the unit in the millimeter, while the SI unit required the unit in the meter. So you are not going to converting the meter or in the centimeter into meter or whatever the required in the numerical. You have to convert that particular thing. Always write down the SI unit of each quantity, and then you must know that how can we convert this, and then at the end highlight the unit conversion in your working. Another mistake, the graph. This is the most pathetic part related with the graphs. So poor graph drawing and the interpretation. Axes are not labeled by the students. You have to label the axis. For example, the graph is related between the current and the resistance. So you will write down resistance, but you will not write down the unit. And similarly, you will write down the current and you will not write down the unit. Then you will not get the marks. Then uneven scale. For example, 0 and then 2, then 10, then 12, then 34. This is not the not the uniform scale. Plotting point incorrectly. You are not joining the points required given in the data for the x-axis value and for the y-axis value, and not drawing the best fit line. If you will not able to draw the point correctly, then you will not get the best fit line correctly. How to avoid? Sharp pencil and the ruler. That is really, really very important thing. When you will use a thick pencil, and then you will not get the required gradient as well. Label axis properly. Choose simple, consistent scale. Points draw accurately. And then do not join in physics, specifically in physics, do not join points dot to dot. Some students told me that in bio, the teacher trained them to join the line dot to dot, but in physics, always remember this is not the case. You are not required to join dot to dot all those points. So you have to draw the line of best fit or the curve of the best fit. Then the next one is the common mistake. Again, you have to understand that what sort of the graph is given, whether it is a velocity time graph or it is a distance time graph. So in order to calculate the gradient, you must know that what will be the gradient of the VT graph. VT graph gradient will be always acceleration, and then distance time graph is the speed. And how can we calculate the distance from the VT graph? We will calculate the area under the graph by applying the formula related with that particular diagram. Then another common mistake, incomplete definition or vague definition. For example, they will ask that what is meant by kinetic energy, and you will write down the definitions of the Ohm's law. So this is really, really very incorrect information. Or for the incomplete definition, for example, they will ask what is meant by moment of a force. So moment of the force is the product of force and perpendicular distance from pivot. If you will not write down the term perpendicular from pivot, you will not get marks. So you have to memorize the key definitions from the syllabus and practice with the full definitions by writing it again and again. So do write the definition. If you have any problem in the definition, do write them, for example, 10 times. Then you will memorize all the key definitions. After that, incorrect ray diagram, that is related with the light topic for all the variant which I have explained earlier, that reflection and refraction and then lenses and focal point and labeling is really, really very important. If you will not label the diagram, you will not get the marks. Use a sharp pencil and a ruler. So whenever you will draw the diagram related with the light, use the sharp pencil, because ultimately you have to calculate the angle as well. Then practice. Practice makes a student perfect. You have to do a lot of practice in order to get the correct answer related with this, because many times the students will not get the correct answer, the correct diagram, the correct magnification, because they haven't done a lot of practice related with the simple ray diagrams. Then the next mistake is related with the topic, the current electricity. So this is my common observation, that if someone is asked to write down, calculate the resistance, so what they will do, they will write down the formula, rearrange I over V, which is, in my opinion, is a stupidity. So R that is equal to V over I. So this is not a physics problem. This is a mathematical problem. So you must know how to arrange the equation according to the requirement, and then practice the circuit calculation and the diagram. You have to do a lot of practice. The next one is related with the series and the parallel combination. In series combination, the current will remain same, and in parallel the current will divide or the split, while in case of the voltage, in series combination the voltage will divide, and in parallel the voltage will remain same. In order to calculate the resistance in series, just add up R1, R2 and R3, and for parallel use the formula 1 over R equal to 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2, or for parallel RT that is equal to R1 into R2 over R1 plus R2. I prefer this formula because there is no need to take the reciprocal at the end, which is again another common mistake for this particular topic. Then the next one is the scalar and vector. You must know the definition of the scalars and vectors, and you have to remember that which quantities are scalars and which quantities are vectors. You have to remember these things. Then the other one is the magnetism related with the electromagnetism, where you will use the Fleming left hand rule and where you will use the Fleming right hand rule. So if the data is given related with the DC motor, if there are positive charges, if there are alpha particle, if there are protons, then you will use Fleming left hand rule. If there are AC generator, there are negative charges, there are beta particles, there are electrons, then you will use Fleming right hand rule. So this is the key point which I have told you, that what to do in order to avoid any mistake or the confusion. And if you will not concentrate on these key points, believe me, you will commit a mistake. And mistake means that your grades will come down. Then another mistake related with the heat and temperature. Heat is a form of energy, and temperature is the average kinetic energy of the particle. The SI unit of heat is joules, and the temperature is Kelvin is the SI unit. Another unit which is used is the degree centigrade. And then the formula for the specific heat capacity, that Q equal to mc delta theta. You have to remember this. M is the mass, C is the specific heat capacity. So memorization of the formula is very, very, very important. And leaving out working. For example, if a numerical problem has 3 marks, then you will write down the answer directly. Believe me, you will not get marks. So you will write down the given data, you will write down what is required, then write down the formula, substitute the value, the already thing which I have told you in the initial slides. So you have to show the working, and then after that, in order to get really very good marks for the ATP, you must visit your lab and do hands-on practice related with the experiment, how to use the micrometer, how to use the measuring cylinder, and all other those things. Sorry for the inconvenience for the bell. And lack of the revision of the past paper practice. So if you will not do the past paper practice regularly, you are not able to get good grades. So you have to repeat that again and again. And after that, time management is another key point. So you will divide the total marks with respect to the marks and with respect to the total number, and then skip hard questions which are very difficult to solve, and then come back and always have some time for the revision as well. So the final tips, you must know the definitions, you have to memorize, you will draw the diagrams, you will use the correct symbols, units, practice, practice and practice. Okay, see you, take care, bye bye.